Click it, click it, click it, click it. What's good, everyone? Welcome to another Lannister Brothers discussion. I am being joined by my girls, AK and T-Baby, and we have a special guest in the house, Braavosi Broadcast. She so kindly agreed to come and join us for this conversation. So I'm going to go around and let the ladies introduce themselves. We'll start with AK, go to T-Baby, and then we'll end with Braavosi. AK?
I'm sorry, there are tiny humans making all sorts of noise that I don't like outside, and I completely spaced on everything you just said. I am so sorry. What am I doing?
You're saying hi, AK.
Oh, okay. My bad. Look, I told y'all know I don't like these kids running around my damn yard. Okay, I'm going to be that old lady in the neighborhood. You kids stay off my damn lawn. But anyway, hi people. Yeah, we're going to talk about some more random Lannisters. Was good. Chat room. Suntavia, Phil, see y'all in there. Catherine, apparently human, what's up? And Casey, I see you too. How's Lower Bridge? Jonathan Cranford. I don't know if I've seen your name before, sir. If I haven't, well met. If I have, please forgive me. I drink a lot, so sometimes the memory don't always be there. But yeah, we're here.
Hey everyone, it's T. Glad y'all came out to talk with us about the Golden Dumbass, your face. If you get triggered by me going in on your face, exit out, or leave me a nice little comment. He's our favorite Golden Dumbass. He's not loyal, and I will be trolling him throughout this session.
Hey guys, you guys know me. You know me by many names, Braavosi Broadcast, and I have on there tonight Faye Fire. I'm going by my other name for my other channel, so hopefully you guys can take some time to check that out. But anyways, it's really good to be here. I'm so happy to be working with these ladies and talking about Jaime. Did some good studying. And hey, John Cranfield, aka you don't know John, but he is new to the crowd. He is a special friend from the cursed community, and I'm gonna keep his identity under wraps for now. The end.
Well, welcome, John. So, and T-Baby, I just want you to know that I specifically put that title in the thumbnail just for you. Just for you.
It warmed my heart. I was like, he is a golden dumbass. He is.
So what we're going to be doing is I'm going to just give a brief overview of Jaime's character, and then I'm just going to be asking these wonderful ladies some questions to kind of drive some discussion. My goal is mostly to kind of bring about a little bit of insight into what Jaime's role is in the overall scheme of this story, and how does he potentially drive the story forward, or is he somebody who just serves a small purpose, and then once his purpose has been served, he will know. I mean, Martin will just eventually just kill him off, if he kills him off. We don't know yet. I mean, we have a prophecy. A prophecy that was told to Cersei, but we don't know if Jaime is the actual person that will be the one to fulfill that prophecy. Though there are many theories in the fandom, I won't really be talking about the theories, but they may come up. So, your thoughts on that, on whether you think Jaime will be the one to choke Cersei out in the end. I'm open to hearing your views on that. So let's get into Jaime. So Jaime is the firstborn son and twin to Cersei Lannister. He is also the older brother of Tyrion Lannister. He is He is in the Kingsguard. Notably, he was knighted in the at the tourney of Harrenhal, I believe, by Sir Arthur Dane, I believe. He was knighted.
Mhm.
But when we get to a storm of when we get to, is it a Storm of Swords when he starts having his own POV chapters, because that's the time when he's with Brienne. That's when he gets
Yeah,
his
because I
first.
don't think he was in Clash.
No, he wasn't in Clash too much. He was just honorary mention in Clash.
I'm saying he didn't have his own chapters. It
Right.
came in storms.
See, you do know. So we get to know a little bit more about Jaime through his chapters. Because he has a lot of flashbacks with respect to his own history. And you learn from him that him and Cersei have had a sexual relationship since they were children, and that they were caught by their nanny. We'll just say nanny. And when the nanny told their mother, the mother separated them, but they always found a way to kind of like hook up with each other. And it was said that their mother, Lady Joanna, never said anything to their father, but I don't know if that's true or not. It was also said that his father had intended that he wanted to arrange a marriage between him and Lysa Tully, but his sister convinced him to give up his birthright and to become a knight of the Kingsguard in order for them to be together, because at the time her father was Hand of the King, and he was taking her to King's Landing, and then as a way for them to be together, she convinced him to give up Casterly Rock in order to be with her. And it was also said that she had a conversation, I believe, with King Aerys at the time to kind of put the bug in his ear to elect her brother as a Kingsguard. But if you read the story, if you read the World of Ice and Fire, it is made mention that the reason why some of the backstory as to why Aerys actually eventually chose Jaime to be a Kingsguard, and even in Jaime's own recollections, as he's thinking back as to why he became a Kingsguard, it was only as a way to deprive Tywin of his heir. You also find out from Jaime that he witnesses a lot of disturbing things while he is a Kingsguard. And you find a lot of conflict with respect to his vow as being a Kingsguard and his vow as a knight, because he's both. He's both a knight and both a Kingsguard. And so he finds that a lot of his vows become conflicting, and it comes more into question the more time he spends with Brienne. We also know that Jaime, when we first meet him in the Game of Thrones, through, I believe the first time we see him, it's through Jon's eyes, I believe. Jon was the first one to notice him when he came to Winterfell. And so, while at Winterfell, that's where we discover that him and his sister were banging each other. And that was when also the fateful day that he pushed Bran out the window as a means of trying to cover up the fact that Bran had discovered that him and his sister had been in a compromising position. At that point, he was labeled a villain, or whatever name you want to attach to that. We'll just call him a bad guy. And throughout the story, we go from Jaime being a bad guy to finding out that he loves his siblings, Like he loves his sister in a romantic way, and he loves his little brother, because that he loves his little brother. Weird, but he does, because when he finds out that Catelyn had abducted Tyrion, he he confronted Ned and Ned's own, I don't know, I'm just gonna say entourage, and let's just go with it. He confronts Ned and his entourage, and he kills Jory. And it is said in the story the reason why he did that was as a way of as revenge for the fact that Catelyn had abducted Tyrion. He does have a successful campaign in the Riverlands in is it A Clash of Kings? The Clash of Kings is the second book. So he has a successful campaign in the Clash of Kings where he lays a siege on Riverrun, but eventually Robb eventually kind of outsmarts him, and he gets captured in the Battle of the Whispering Woods. And so as of the Clash of Kings, he becomes a prisoner of Robb. By the time we get to a Storm of Swords, Catelyn had let him loose and freed him on the condition that Brienne would take him back to King's Landing and exchange him for her two daughters, Sansa and Arya, because Catelyn had got intel from Cleo's Frey that Tyrion had stated in front of the court that he would release both of her daughters in return for Jaime. At least I'm paraphrasing, but that is the gist. So she sets him free under the condition that once he gets to King's Landing, that he is supposed to, make his brother Tyrion stand by his word that he was going to release both Sansa and Arya. And during their wonderful adventures in the Riverlands, there's a lot of back and forth between him and Brienne with respect to being a knight and what it means to be a knight. And during their travels, Cleo's Frey dies really horribly. He raids Cleo's dead body because he's not gonna need that. I shouldn't be laughing, but hard times.
That's what family's for, right? If you can't raid your cousin's dead body, then what's it even for?
Everyone knows we all have a morbid sense of humor. If something's funny because somebody trips down the hill the wrong way and breaks their neck, I ain't gonna be mad at you if you chuckle. I mean, come on, man.
He is afraid.
Yeah, I definitely laughed when he lost his hand. So by all means, chuckle.
So after that happens, him and Brienne have a wonderful sword play, and after their sword play, and she bests him, they get found by the Bloody Mummers. So after he is taken to in front of Vargo Hoat has his sword hand cut off. And so he goes through this really horrible, it's really horrible. They tie his severed hand around his neck. His stump is all pussy. He's vomited and crapped on himself. And Brienne is the one that has to clean him up. He's ready to give up on life. But Brienne kind of sparks, she kind of encourages him not to let this not to allow this to be, beat him, to live for revenge, you know what I mean? And then so he makes up in his mind that he's gonna get in revenge, and he falls back on the old Lannister saying of a Lannister always pays his debts. And he also saves Brienne from being raped by letting the Bloody Mummers know that, listen, she's worth a lot of sapphires, because where she's from, they have sapphires, and if they're looking to get a ransom for her, they not to bespoil her. Then they get to Harrenhal, and by the time that they get to Harrenhal, Roose Bolton is there, and in Harrenhal is where there's the bath scene where he confesses what led to him killing King Aerys. I'm not going to rehash that. Everybody really knows the story. So from that point on, that begins his redemption arc, because in the bath, it kind of, he goes through this whole cleansing and baptism symbolism. Whoa. And so he goes through this cleansing and baptism. And so he now starts on the road to a redemption arc. And so as he's getting ready to leave, Roose Bolton tells him, we find out that at that point that Roose Bolton has switched sides from Robb to the Lannisters, from the Starks to the Lannisters. And he kind of tells Jaime to let his father know that it wasn't his fault that, his hand got cut off. That was all Vargo Hope. And that's when they also, no. And also at that point, Roose tells them that, Jaime, Brienne is not going to be able to go with Jaime, that, he's not going to deprive Vargo of 2 of his prizes. So Brienne get left behind. And at that time, Jaime wasn't really thinking too much about it, because all he was thinking about was getting back to Cersei. Gross. So he, on his way going back, and he rests his head on a weirwood stump. And when he's on this weirwood stump, he has this vision, right? So, and because of the vision that he has, he turns the whole caravan around to go back to rescue Brienne. So he goes back to Harrenhal, rescues Brienne, and then they make their way back to King's Landing. And on their way going back to King's Landing, they find out that the Red Wedding happened, and both Catelyn and Robb Stark are dead. So he makes his way back to King's Landing. At the time when they make it back, Loras Tyrell tries to pull up on Brienne, but he has Brienne taken to a tower to protect her. And he makes his way to go see his sister. They spend quality time in front of their son's, oh my God, in front of their son's dead body.
Quality time, that's what we're gonna call it. Okay.
And she's, oh my God, and she's on her period. So
It is. And you know what? They didn't really do that scene justice on the show. And also kind of their whole sexual dynamic, I felt like the roles are a little bit reversed with what they did on the show versus what they did in the books, where it's actually Cersei is kind of the one that's she's trying to use her sexual wiles as a way to manipulate and control Jaime, versus on the show they kind of showed it as just their creepy incest thing. They didn't really give it any more meaning. Anyways, that's something I picked up on.
I think that's one success that they actually had for the last couple seasons, is that they did show how manipulative Cersei was. There's very few good things I'll say about them from the last couple seasons, but that they did eye on.
So after they have, as Bernie calls it, thank you, Bernie. Bernie called it crime scene sex. Yes. After that, he wipes away the evidence, and he goes to go see his dad. So he goes to go see his dad, and his dad is telling him, "Hey, I'm glad you're back. So now that you're back, it's time for you to go ahead and become the heir of Castle Rock." And he's like, "Nah, I'm good. I'd rather stay a Kingsguard." And he has a back and forth with his dad. And his dad was like, "You know what? You're not my son, because, go ahead and be a Kingsguard, you dirtbag. You're a loser." And so later on, we also find out that Tywin had taken Ned's sword Ice and melted it and had two swords made out of Ned's sword. And so one was given to Jaime, and then the other one was gifted to Joffrey. So the one that was given to Jaime, he calls Brienne in, and they have a conversation. He said, "Hey, here's the sword. It's Ned Stark steel, and you can put I want you to go out there and find Sansa so that we can keep our promise to Catelyn." Blah blah blah, and then they named the sword Oathkeeper. And the second sword was Joffrey named it Widow's Wail because it's Joffrey. So so off Brienne goes. And so, he spent some time in the Kingsguard section. He goes over the White Book. He has a lot of inflection about who he is and, how he was as a Kingsguard and what his story is going to be. Him and Cersei have a few discussions. His father dies. He has he has also, he has more reflection with respect to the death of his father and what his father had always taught him. And so he tries to counsel Cersei, but Cersei's not trying to hear it. Cersei wants him to be the hand of the king, but he's like, nah, that's not me. I'm a Kingsguard. That's what I do. And that's what I want to be. And she's like, all right, so I want you to go over to the Riverlands and go handle business. He's like, no, I should stay here with you. And he's like, and she's like, no, you could go ahead and beat feet. So he goes to the Riverland. And when he gets to the Riverland, he assesses what's going on. By that time, the Blackfish is held up at River Run. Emmon Frey and Gemma Frey are and all the Freys and the Dairies and everybody are in camp holding, sieging River Run. So he parlays with Blackfish. Blackfish trolls him. And he goes and he has a conversation with Edmund Frey, and not Edmund Frey, Edmund Tully. And then from his conversation with Edmund Tully, he kind of, makes a blanket threat in order to get Edmund Tully to surrender River Run. And so Edmund Tully succeeds in having River Run surrender, but the Blackfish escapes. And so then he's off to go deal with the Brackens and the somebody help me.
The Blackwoods.
Thank you. So he goes off to deal with them, you know what I mean, to get them to, surrender, to get Titus Blackwood to surrender Raventree Hall. So he parlays with him, and they come to an agreement. And then after that agreement, he goes off to Pennytree. And then at Pennytree, Brienne comes in and she's like, yo, I need you to come with me alone because the Hound has Sansa and he's going to kill her. So I need you to come with me. And he's like, bet, I'm with you. And then they go off. And that's the last time we see or hear from Jaime. Now, a lot of things happen in between. But this is just a general synopsis of Jaime's story throughout the whole books. So I want to go back to the beginning, right? So do you think in the beginning of the story, do you really think that when Jaime pushed Bran out the window, that he was necessarily doing it to impress Cersei? Or do you really think that he thought that she wanted him to do it? Or do you think that he truly, honestly believed that the only way to protect their secret was to get rid of Bran by pushing him out the window. I'm gonna start with you, T baby. Oh,
you gotta repeat the question. I was trolling. I'm sorry. I was trolling.
I asked, okay, at the time when Jaime pushed Bran out the window, do you think that he was doing it because he felt that it was the only way for him to protect his secret with Cersei? Do you think that he actually thought that that's what she wanted him to do? Or do you think that he thought that, you know, that was that was like the right decision to make at the time? Like he needed to go, like, because he literally had just pulled him up. And like 2 seconds later, he pushes him out.
You're right. This is a prime example of why he ain't shit. Cause like you pushed a kid out the window and crippled him in his own home. And it's because you couldn't keep your dick in your pants. So it's like, he's saying shit. But to answer your question, I think it's all three. I think he saw that it was dangerous, that this boy would live, to tell Ned, because once they find out that them two are fucking, that's like the reputation of the Lannisters would go downhill. Like they're not Targaryens. I mean, they are Targaryens, but they're not technically Targaryens. So yeah, I think that, and then of course I also do think that in his mind, he believes Cersei would push a little boy out the window, so why not dirty her hands and dirty his? Because he'll take the bullet for her most of the time anyway. But I mean, I blame both of them. Like, you could have easily, took a walk into the woods and fuck. You didn't have to fuck in their castle. Like, they don't know you like that. They're not cool with you like that. And this is why this is a perfect example why I do not like Jaime. I mean, I really think it's because I'm a twin. So when I think twins fucking each other, I get extremely grossed out. Like, I can understand y'all like, well, in this series, we can fuck each other. Said, nah, that's gross, okay? It's still gonna be gross. I mean, the Targaryens are gross for doing it too, but to sum it up, yes, I think all above. I do think that he was nervous and was like, I have to protect her. And because he's a golden dumbass, the first thing he thinks is, let's push this kid out the window. But it's like, people are going to have questions, like, as soon as it happens, which ended up happening, which actually ended up causing a lot of domino effects within this whole series. So that's my final answer. I'm gonna say it was all three. He definitely thought Cersei would push the kid out, and technically she would. He definitely thought that he had to hurry up and fix the situation right away because, I mean, you don't know if Bran was going to talk. So in his mind, the only thing to do was to push him and to kill him right then and there. But that's y'all faves. And he is a golden dumbass and a sister fucker. I'm done.
Lady D, since you just came in, go ahead and say hi to everybody, and I'll pose the same question to you.
Hey, everybody. I'm sorry I'm late, but hey. And of course, hit me with it right after Twin. Hit me with it. Hit me with it. Pose it.
Okay, so what are your thoughts with respect to why Jaime felt the need to push Bran out the window? Do you think that he was doing it, that he honestly felt that there was no other choice, that he had to do it as a means of protecting himself and Cersei? Or do you felt like he just did it because it was the right, he felt that was the right thing to do? It was like, or in the moment, was it spur of the moment for him? Or he, quick, think on your feet. He saw us. Boom. But my thing is, the reason why I don't know if it was quick thinking, because he had just pulled him up. He could have just let him slip and fall, but he didn't do that. He actually pulled him up to keep him from falling. But then 2 seconds later, he ends up pushing him out the window.
I think that Jaime was scared. I think that people do things in fear and they don't completely think things through. And I think that Jaime is someone who doesn't completely think things through any damn way. And he got scared. And so he was like, and grabbed the kid and it was like, wait a minute. He saw me fucking my sister. Like, there's really only one way out of this. Either I gotta go or you gotta go. You know? Like, that's the truth. Either I'm gonna die or you gotta die, kid. And since I don't want to die, I gotta make that decision. I gotta make it now. Boop. So I think he just caught him because it was like, oh, kid, you know, and in your mind, this is the kid who almost was your innate, I guess, reaction will automatically be save the child. But then you realize if I save this child, I will be damning myself. So bye-bye. Make the little boy slide now. That's what I think happened. Yeah, just in case you haven't figured it out, y'all, I'm on the T-Baby side. I personally think that Jaime ain't shit. Jaime ain't shit. I'm sorry. He is horrible.
Okay, Erin, I posed a question to you.
Well, you know, all right. I think at the start of the story, Jaime ain't shit. Like, he is a dumbass. He's caught up in himself. He's got that, like, almost Joffrey mentality where he's just untouchable. He can do whatever he wants to do. So I think in that moment, when they're in Winterfell, he still has that mindset of, I'm untouchable and I'm fucking the queen and she's definitely untouchable and we're in, like, buttfuck freaking Winterfell. Like, nobody's gonna do anything to us here. It is creepy though, that part where he does kind of like hold Bran there and like pull him back up. Like, why you got to do that, Jaime? You'd be less of a psycho if you just like pushed him. But there's like a thought, you know, he goes through that thought process. So that's a little bit psychotic. Yeah. But I think also he's probably like, he got caught fucking, so he's probably like, oh shit, you know, like got caught with his pants down by a kid that like he definitely should not, like if it was any other kid it wouldn't be that big of a deal, but it happens to be of course one of the Stark children. And so it's just one, you know, layer upon layer of like badness that he's just like, well, I guess I've killed like a lot of people before, so what's, you know, another body. It's terrible, but that's Jaime. Jaime's terrible. At least at this part of the story.
AK.
Okay. Well, first of all, I am in full agreement. Jaime is a dumbass. I don't think there's a whole lot of logic used in anything that he does. First of all, let's see. Bran is what, 7, maybe 8, and he's a young northern Starkling. He doesn't know what the fuck he's seeing. Looking in that window, he's hearing some random shit and he's looking, but he's very clearly confused as to what is even going on. You didn't have to do any of that, my guy. Matter of fact, Cersei was pretty damn pissed at him for doing that, because this is very, 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 very few instances, well, I'll say Cersei actually had a decent thought moment. She could have easily talked him out of what he thought he saw. He doesn't know what he saw. They don't have the Discovery Channel. They don't grow up like us. You know, they don't know what sex is like that. This little kid had no idea what he was seeing. He just knew that he's climbing around his playground. Mind you, this is his fucking house. He is playing in his playground and heard some strange shit, and he went to go investigate, which he is very perfectly allowed to do. And the first damn thing you think of when you get caught with your dick being someplace it shouldn't be, your fucking Kingsguard. Your dick ain't supposed to be any damn where but your damn loincloth, you bastard. First of all. Secondly, again, this is a child. I understand maybe you might be scared or whatever, but your first immediate thought, Timo motherfucking Lisi. Let me shut the fuck up right now because I gotta say shout out to Timo Lisi. I miss you, you bastard. You're fucking late. You see this bullshit here? You say Jaime is a dumbass 3 fucking times, and Timo want to come in and chat and try to stand on this golden asshole. Anyway, back to what I was talking about, though. Jaime did not
My
have to do this.
son's up.
He did not have to do this at all. That child could very easily have been persuaded into saying that, oh, you know, we were just on the floor wrestling or whatever. Him and Arya, they don't show a whole lot of interactions with them, but they used to wrestle and run around and play all over the damn Winterfell. All you had to say, okay, well, that's my brother. You know, that's my sister. We every time now and then we sit and do whatever, and it's playtime. It's not anything bad that we could get killed for. Bran wasn't even on that damn thought level when he saw them. I'm just saying, the kid did not have to, you know, damn near get murdered at his own house. You know, but right before he starts on his journey to becoming the knight that he wanted to be, is all I'm saying.
Okay, though. I'm just saying, like, all right, I know you're a good Christian woman and all that, but for the rest of us out here, that's maybe a little bit more in the middle toward straight up whatever. Like, you're not going to tell me that 11 years old, 8 years old, 7 years old, y'all know what to do was, whatever. They literally have games for this, AK. It's called Hide and Ride, 7 minutes.
Dude, okay, but what did I say?
Like, people were hoping at 5.
Who was Bran Stark playing that with? Who was Bran Stark playing that with?
Man, you got servants. Get out of here. You a rich ass boy in the north with all these servants. Get out of here. You probably getting head by the time you're 7 years old. Get out of here.
I wouldn't put that past Brandon. I wouldn't put that past Rob even. But
Bran ain't never seen a titty. No. You don't think Bran ever seen a titty? Ocean straight up taking.
I'm sure he's seen a titty, but that doesn't necessarily mean he is comprehending in his head exactly what he's seeing in that window.
Man, I'm telling you right now, this is what I want you to do. I want you to go find some young men between the ages of 5 and 10 years old right now, and just ask them a couple of questions. You will be shocked at the things that these little boys say. I'm telling you. I am telling you, you will be shocked. They know exactly what
I grew up around those same type of boys. I already know what they saw. I'm just saying, that's not Bran Steelo. But go ahead.
Right,
but you also have to remember that people are older, like they act older in this series. So even some are like 13, 14, riding dragons and taking over empires. So for his age, that's not too far-fetched that he would recognize what he saw. But I think he would play dumb though.
I agree. And it's also surprising because we know that Bran spent so much time kind of on his own, like exploring and going to various places. Like you would think there's probably going to be, I mean, they didn't really expand on it too much in like Game of Thrones very much, but I'm sure we've seen it like even on like The Witcher and that kind of thing, where the servants and, you know, the kitchen maids and whatever, they'd sneak off and go hump in the freaking hay pile or whatever. So I think that Bran probably has definitely seen some action like that. However, like Cersei and Jaime aren't smart enough to outsmart an 8-year-old. Like I'm sure he's not the first 8-year-old that's walked in on people banging. Like he's definitely not. So like they couldn't come up with any kind of excuse. Also, they're going to be going, you know, Bran's supposed to be going with them, and Bran is like obsessed with being in the Kingsguard and like being a knight and all of that. So like Jaime could have taken advantage of that situation and been like, hey, little guy, like, what are you doing? Hey, and then like extra buddied up to him and been like, come hang out with me, come hang out with the Kingsguard. Like that would have been the correct way to handle it from like a not psycho person. But again, Jamie's just setting him up and knocking him out of the park for us to think that about him. So that's
that. Okay, so the consensus is that he's a psycho, he's a dumbass, he basically was just he was a horrible person. He was a horrible person. I like the fact that Lady D brought up the fact that there was fear involved also, because you know we don't really think about him actually being afraid. So there might have been a little bit of fear involved. I think more so arrogance, and I think like Jaime, I told the ladies this a while back, but Jaime to me is like the ultimate like bro, if you understand what a bro is. Like to me, that's what he comes off as to me. He comes off like as the ultimate bro. He's not really an overly complicated person. Like, I just want to fuck my sister. I want to, be in the Kingsguard and swing my sword and, enjoy life. That's all I really want. He didn't care about the kids. He didn't care about anything other than being between his sister's legs and being in the Kingsguard and being able to swing his sword both his swords, one in one direction and the other one in the other direction. That was Jaime in a nutshell when we first meet him. He was like the ultimate bro. Okay, so now we get to another question I want to ask, right? So when we get to, let's skip forward to the part where him and Catelyn are having a conversation when she takes Brienne to go and have a conversation with him in the dungeons of Riverrun. But that's after he had got caught, and this was the time shortly before she's getting ready to set him free. So they have a conversation about okay, what really happened? Why did he push Bran? You know what I mean? And why did he feel the need to do that? And they also have a conversation about oaths and vows. And so he makes this speech about how it's like you're caught between two things. You're sworn to protect and you're sworn to serve. And you're supposed to protect the weak, but you're also supposed to protect the king. What if the king does something, right, that goes against your knighthood? What do you do? What do you do in that instance? What if you put your knightly vows before your Kingsguard vows, or do you put your Kingsguard vows before your knightly vows? So they have this back and forth about knighthood. So my question that I want to ask is, do you think at that moment that he felt justified in the fact that how should I word this? Do you think that he felt justified in the fact that at the time when he killed Ares, do you think that he felt justified because he was fulfilling his knightly vows and going against his he was fulfilling his knighthood vows and going against his Kingsguard vows? Because remember when he tells the story to Brienne, he said the reason why he killed him was because he had overheard the conversation about all the the cachets of wildfire, and as a way of preventing him being able to give the order to the Pyromancers to light the wildfire and to save all of the people in King's Landing, he killed Ares, and as a way of making sure that he wouldn't he wouldn't somehow be able to rise again and as a dragon. I think he was being facetious when he said that. He cut his throat. Do you think that he felt justified in that? Because he never really said anything. Like, Ned came and found him, he didn't say anything to Ned about it. He never said anything to anyone about it, and everybody vilified him and called him a Kingslayer. So I'm gonna start with you, AK.
Bring B on though, because she.
You said the specific situation is Ares being killed.
Do you feel that he was justified when he gave up his knightly vows, and killed Ares? Do you think that he was being justified because he was fulfilling a knightly vow in protecting the innocent, but do you feel that he felt justified in killing Ares because he was sworn to protect Ares? He was a kings of the night. He was a you know what I mean? He was a night guard, a king of the night guard, whatever.
Yeah.
And so,
okay, so for him, it's actually, it's funny that Timo's in the chat right now because we have gone back and forth about this many times. Should he have killed Ares? No, because he is a Kingsguard. At the same time, though, he could have very easily manhandled Ares and had him held down, waiting for Ned or whoever else was going to come in, even wait for his dad to get there, and he wouldn't have been seen as the Kingslayer. He's justifying it, I think, more so to himself more than the rest of the realm when he says, I did it to save all of King's Landing. He was going to blow it up. You had already killed the Pyromancer, dude. Who was going to be carrying out the order? No one. Everybody else.
Well, there were more Pyromancers so he could have
not in that vicinity. There weren't any in that vicinity.
But that doesn't mean that Ares couldn't have, sent the order.
He gave the order to the one Pyromancer. Jaime killed that guy, and then he went and got Ares. I mean, unless Ares has like the lungs of Zeus, he's not going to be able to yell through all the corridors and into the depths of the Red Keep to talk to the other Pyromancers and tell them to set off the wildfire. No, you grab that frail ass old man who was unarmed, mind you, and this golden dumbass still stabbed him in the back. An old ass man that couldn't even fight for nothing. You could have tossed his ass on the ground, fucking took a seat on his back, and put your blade to his throat and told him to shut the fuck up. And what could Ares have done but laid there and pissed himself? That's it. And now you've saved the realm still, and you're not a Kingslayer now. But you're still a golden dumbass because you don't think things all the way through. All you see is the heat of the moment. So, now he is what he is.
Okay, Braavosi, I'll pose the question to you. Do you think that he felt justified in his killing of Ares by based on the back and forth that he had with Catelyn with respect to knightly vows and Kingsguard vows? Do you feel that he felt justified in fulfilling his knightly vows in protecting the weak by killing Ares because of the plan that Ares had to burn King's Landing down?
I definitely think so. I think Jaime has, because when he became a knight, he was very young, like the youngest knight, I believe. He was younger than Prince Aemon the Dragon Knight, and so I believe he was the youngest knight, and he was proud of that, and he was proud of his family. He was proud of his position. And then when he's telling that story of when he first realizes that Aerys just wanted him to have control over him, just to spite Tywin. And that's when he first realizes that he's just being used as a pawn. He had values, and he had those knightly values that were very important to him up until that point. That was like, when people kind of, I mean, it's kind of part of any character's arc or any person. You go through that moment in life where suddenly your reality is kind of shattered, where you think one thing, you think your life is going one way, and then all of a sudden you realize, like, oh, there's a much bigger picture and I'm just a small part of it. So that was his kind of breaking point, but also that created like a lot of bitterness in him. And then the fact that he had those experiences of like with Aerys and Rhaella, where he was being like really cruel to her and like raping her basically in really like vicious ways, and he couldn't do anything about it because he's a Kingsguard knight. In any other situation, he would have been able to protect any other person, anyone. And we all know that like raping a woman is wrong, and anyone that would have to like stand there and just listen to it would be like pretty traumatized by that. And you know, so that's like another where he's going away inside kind of thing. So I think that he did get that nightly fulfillment when he killed Aerys. And even though like straight after that, because he already had like a better concept of how things were at that point in time when he killed Aerys. So I think that was his knightly side of him that killed him, because it was the right thing to do. And he knew that he'd be forfeiting any like glory or accolades or anything like that came along with that. He knew that. That's why he never tried to defend himself. That's why he never said anything to Ned. That's why he didn't try and take the throne himself. He knew all those things. He's not an idiot. So I think that he was satisfied that he had done the most knightly thing that he could do, and still everybody just kind of was like, you're a dick, like you are a kingslayer. And that's how he had to live the rest of his life, is just being mocked and being called a kingslayer. And to him, like, he does the knightly thing and the right thing, and he's vilified for the rest of his life for it. So that's to him why the Kingsguard, that's why I think he walks around through life with just kind of this like mocking, like he's just like, this is all bullshit, it's all just like fake, you know, whatever. It's not about what's right or wrong, it's about what looks right or wrong kind of thing. And that's a hard pill for most of us to swallow, but he has to kind of like live with that, because that's his vows for the rest of his life. So I don't know, that would kind of suck. It's not like, you know, when you have a job and you find out that you're just like being used and like your boss is a fucking asshole and, you know, whatever, you're just like a piece of the cog kind of thing. And you have the choice, then you can say, you know what, I don't want to do this job anymore. I don't want to like be your peon kind of thing. Jaime doesn't get that choice. Jaime's stuck for life. And his only way of kind of compromising on that was to kill the king, but he's still a Kingsguard, which was pretty lucky. So yeah, I think he got the fulfillment of the knightly aspect, but he kind of has to live out his days being mocked for it, which is equally as bad as like being sent to the wall or being killed, basically, to live your life as a joke for doing an honorable thing. It's a weird thing. Yeah.
You brought up a lot of good, interesting points, because it takes me back to the conversation that he has with Brienne when they're talking about knighthood. And he was very proud of the fact that he was knighted. And not only was he knighted, he was knighted by one of the greatest Kingsguards ever, right? And he makes a very interesting comment to Brienne that it wasn't him that soiled the cloak, it was the cloak that soiled him. Because in his mind, him becoming a Kingsguard was really a joke. You know, he thought it was something, a great accomplishment, and in a sense it is a great accomplishment, but it lost all of its importance and its greatness when he finds out why he becomes a Kingsguard. And so now this is his opportunity to kind of fulfill his knightly vows, because he doesn't in essence have the opportunity to really be the Kingsguard that he wants to be. And so this is his opportunity to do that. And I think that also comes through when he saves Brienne from being raped. It's like he couldn't save Rhaella from being raped by the king, but he was able to do that for Brienne, right? And so you find this kind of like that, this dichotomy like exists in Jaime, like, because everybody else has this have like everything already set in stone for them, like they don't have any conflict. Like Brienne has no conflict about what it means to be a knight and what it means to be a Kingsguard, because she was also she was also a Kingsguard. Well, she was part of Renly's Rainbow Guard, and she's also considered a Kingslayer, even though she didn't kill Renly, but she was blamed for his death. So here you have two people. One is an actual true knight and who was truly knighted and who became a Kingsguard, but he was chosen as a Kingsguard as a means of, as for petty reasons. And she was chosen as a Kingsguard because she proved herself and actually earned her Kingsguard, but she's not a knight. So you have two people who kind of who are on the opposite spectrums of both of those things and how they view what it means to be a knight and what it means to be, somebody who is a Kingsguard. Lady D, did I already pose that question to you?
No, you didn't. You did not. So, in my opinion, Jaime, again, is a terrible person. And yes, he killed the king, and I do not think that he did it in order to save lives. I think that it's all like contracts. It's like being married, right? You get married once, no matter how many other people you marry after you're married that first time, the rest of those marriages don't matter. So when he got knighted and became a knight of House Lannister, right? I think that this knight of House Lannister signed on to do what the knight of House Lannister needed to do for House Lannister. He did not have to kill the king. I think that AK is absolutely right. He did kill the Pyromancer, and more than that, like the thing that sticks out to me is that even if he did kill the king, y'all, he didn't have to let people know that he did it. He could have been like, it was the Pyromancer that did it. And I slayed, I killed the Pyromancer because he injured the king, and that's how he died. Like, if no one else is there to tell the tale, you could have just called up a serving man and blamed it on him. There's all sorts of things that you could have done, but instead you chose to take on the Kingslayer title and sit your behind on that throne. And I think that was entirely because of Tywin. You didn't have to kill him, but you did. Like, that's the reality. You could have literally been like, hey, because, like, just real talk. Yes, he's the king, but is everybody else so stupid in the castle that they're going to be like, oh, yeah, let's just do what this man says and blow up King's Landing with us here in King's Landing? No, I don't think so. Like, it would have been you could have easily been like, hey, all right, the king over here trying to blow up King's Landing on some Ezel stuff. I ain't going to tell nobody else. You know what I'm saying? And just, like, let that happen. Like, he's trying to kill us all. What y'all about to do about it? And let them tear him limb from limb. And he didn't. It was literally like, let them burn them all. Okay, kill this dude, let me sit down. I kind of feel like if he wanted to avoid the Kingslayer title, he definitely could have, and he didn't because he gets kudos from Tywin for it.
Well, to be fair, the Pyromancers are not normal people. Like, any opportunity they get to play with wildfire, they kind of will jump on it. They're kind of weird. So then they are not I don't know. I don't know if I would consider them to be that, like, they wouldn't do it. Like, they probably would totally do it.
With the exception of the Pyromancers, then go back to the first point. You could literally just have killed the Pyromancer and kept the king in the room until your father got there because the gates were open. Fine, boom. Or you could have killed the king and not been known as the Kingslayer because you could have blamed it on the Pyromancer. Boom. Or you could have killed the king and named someone else who's running around the castle because you're Jaime fucking Lannister. You could be like, that person killed the king. Boom. But instead, you decided to become the Kingslayer because why?
Exactly.
There has to be some sort of advantage to being named the Kingslayer. And I think that advantage is, you get a pat on the head from Tywin, in my opinion, because all of these things could have been avoided by just sheer privilege of being Jaime Lannister.
What, T-Baby, you want to jump in?
I'm sorry, I've been trolling and triggering Timo, so just repeat the question one more time. I'm so sorry.
Do you
love triggering her.
I know you're. I'm happy that you're having a great time trolling Jaime because I knew this would be like the stream for you. The question is, do you feel that Jaime felt justified in killing King Aerys to fulfill his knightly vows? because remember when we go back to the back and forth conversation he had about knightly vows and how one conflicts the other, like having your knightly vows and your Kingsguard vows conflict each other. Do you felt that him killing Ares was his way of being able to fulfill his knightly vows? Since he, I guess in his mind, he didn't feel like he could, he really was able to choose between the two, or he didn't see himself as a true Kingsguard because of how he became one. So this was his opportunity to be able to at least fulfill his knightly vows.
I do think he thought he was justified, but not in the sense of him doing it the righteous way, as far as like, I did it because he was going to kill all these people. No, I think it really came down to is that he wanted his daddy's head. And so it was, do I choose the king or my house? So in that sense, yeah, I do think he was justified as either, you know, my family or you. But I do not get the, oh, well, you know, he was going to kill all of y'all. You didn't care about these people. So that's like a joke. And it goes to what B said, like, you joined the night, I'm about to say Night's Watch. You joined the Kingsguard legitimately just so that you could continue to fuck yourself. That's it. And then when you found yourself in this complicated situation, then you realize that because you didn't really join it for the right reasons, you found yourself in a situation where now things are complicated and conflicting because, one, your heart wasn't truly into it, first of all. So I think that's where it really came from. But I won't say that he didn't think he was justified. I just don't think it's in the terms that people want to glorify, like, oh, Jaime, he did it for his country. No, basically it was, he wanted his daddy's head, and that was a no-no, and you can't go against your daddy, and we all know that, so you ended up killing him. And the thing is that he didn't have to kill him. That's the bottom line. Like, you could say all you want, so he was just going to let, no, the Pyromancer was going to set the fire. The king was not going to take his ass down there and go down there and set it himself. So therefore, that whole argument, to me, makes no sense. So I can't even accept it. But it's like, you could have, he was smart. And this is why I say he reacts faster than he actually thinks at times. Because if he thought it through, he could have easily held the king down, imprisoned that king, and waited until the people came before, so that whoever's really in charge, like his daddy or Ned or whoever, or Robert, could handle the situation as far as killing the king. That way your supposed vows that you so confused about wouldn't be so clouded because you did it the proper way. Didn't. He was just like, let me kill this senior citizen. And I'm not going to sit up here and act like Ares was like the best king and he didn't deserve it. Not even going to say it. But what I'm saying is that Jaime should have went about it the other way, the right way, which is you didn't have to kill that man. You just simply wanted to. And that's just the bottom line to that. So he don't get no cool points for killing him. You know, I'm not going to condemn him from killing him, but you don't get cool points for it. And I forgot if it was Timo or who said, so there were other knights there, Kingsguard. You're saying he couldn't? I'm like, but this was your Jaime Lannister, the best fighter. You're saying he couldn't handle them? Like, the top fighters were already gone. If you said it was like Gerald Hightower there, then I could be like, okay, maybe he got to think about it. But it was Jaime Lannister with two hands. So I'm pretty sure he could have put some of those Kingsguards to work. Because, and this is weird because y'all hype him up on so many things, but when it comes down to it, then y'all make excuses for him. So in my opinion, yeah, he does think he was justified, but it just wasn't because he felt like, oh, I was protecting these people. No, it was because you were trying to protect your family, your house, which makes complete sense. Now, I think the whole conversation with him and Brienne made him start to really think about like all these things that are coming that conflict with each other. And maybe, you know, his conscience is starting to get with him because he saw that Brienne was a true knight. And even she's going through all this stuff, she's still standing up fighting. And so that resonated with him. So I think it started later on. He started really thinking about these things, but at the beginning, there's no way he thought about these things. He does not care about anyone in Westeros. He cares about his sister and his brother, and maybe his daddy, but not really. And that's it. And look, if it came to you and your house, of course you're gonna pick your house, right? No one's gonna say that. But to say or to make him out to be this hero protecting the people, it's like, come on, that's this. Now, if you say he was right because it came down to the king and his daddy, then cool, I get it. That's logic. I mean, like, if someone said it was, somebody of authority said, bring me your daddy's head, I'm like, bitch, whatever, I will kill you. Like, it's nothing, right? But for me to say, oh, I did it because it's for the people, it's like, now you're losing your argument. Like, call a spade a spade. He did it because it was a direct threat to his family. And if you cut off Tywin, the head, as we see in book 4, once you cut off the head of the lion, they all crumble. So in a sense, you can't kill your daddy because that's the end. We all saw what happened once Tywin died. Everyone came in and everyone started plotting. As soon as Tywin was gone, they went to his funeral only to make sure that dude was dead. And that's it. Not to pay respects. We just need to confirm that that's the body and he ain't moving. So my final thought, because I know I'm triggering Timo, and I love you, my sweet Sansa, I love you. So keep going on, Bran and Sansa and everybody else. But my final thought is that I agree he did think he was justified, because I don't think he was justified for doing it, but I can understand why he did it. But it wasn't to protect people. That's bullshit. It was to protect his house.
So I kind of agree with everybody's assessment in respect to he didn't really have to kill Aerys. There was there wasn't really a need for that. And I find it becomes very ironic because the conversation is that he did it in order to keep the keep Aerys from telling the Pyromancers from setting off the wildfires and killing the people of King's Landing. But his father ends up sacking the city anyway, so he ends up killing most of the people in King's Landing anyway. So it's like the whole reasoning behind him like saving King's Landing ends up being kind of like a waste because his father ends up sacking the city anyway. So anyways, I guess he in his mind, he felt that he did what he felt that he needed to do at the time. And he felt that he did the right thing at the time, like it or not. I mean, sometimes we make choices and decisions thinking that we're doing the right thing, and sometimes it's not. But when you're in the moment and you're making a decision, when you don't, we as the readers, we have information that the characters don't. So we can offer to say, hey, this, you should have did this, you should have did that, they should have done this and they should have done that. But remember, we have information and we have internal thoughts, and we have we know the actions of what's going on with other people's that the characters in and of themselves, when they're in the moment, that they don't have, a lot of times they don't have. It doesn't justify a lot of times why they do what they do. It doesn't make it right, but it kind of gives you, you get some sort of insight into, okay, they did this because the character felt that this was the right choice to make. Okay, so now the last thing I want to touch on is his redemption arc, because he seems to be going on in a different direction where he's somewhat breaking away from his family. And so we see the start of that in the breakdown of his relationship with Cersei before she sends him off to the Riverlands. We see a lot of his internal thoughts while he's in the Riverlands, and and a lot of it goes back to the strong impression that Brienne made on him in their time, in their travels, and in their experiences as they were making their way through the Riverlands to get to King's Landing. And so I'm going to pose the question to you first, Braavosi. Do you really believe that he is on a redemption arc based on the actions that he starts to take later on in the books? Meaning, from the time that we see him in A Feast for Crows, going into, I think he only has like one chapter in A Dance with Dragons. Do you think he actually is on the road to having somewhat of a redemption arc?
I do think so, or at least he's trying to. I don't know how far it will go, because honestly, at this point that he's at right now, I like where he's at right now. He's starting to, kind of like Tywin wanted him to, he's starting to embrace that that Lannister aspect, his Lannister side. He goes and deals with the Brackens and the Blackwoods. He goes and deals with Edmure Tully and his uncle Emmon Frey and all of that at Riverrun, you know, and he does a good job. He has like very much a like a Tywin hand at it, like where he's all business. He can handle it all business. He can do things without having to make empty threats to like make himself look tough or, you know, that kind of thing. Like even with the Blackwoods, he even got like he got their son as a hostage, and they were still like friendly at the end of it. And then he had to be like, by the way, you know, right before he was leaving, he's like, don't make a mistake. Like, I will kill your son at, you know, if I need to. So like, and then he's like, oh yeah, I remember, you are the Kingslayer. Like, he has that darker side to himself, but I think that if he's willing to embrace like his knightly side, if he can bring that back into like his orbit and into like what he believes for himself, then I think that he can be on a redemption arc. And I think that Brienne definitely helps with that, because you see like every single chapter that he goes through, his opinion on her just slightly like changes. He goes from, you know, you ugly wench and you ugly, you know, you stupid big whatever. And then it's slowly like, well, now she's like so sad and pathetic that it's not even fun to make fun of her anymore. And like, look at her in this dress. Like, she does not look right or normal. And then, dang, she does have kind of nice, pretty eyes. All right, here, you can have this sword. And it's called Oathkeeper because you earned it. Like, he can see, like, I think he can kind of see himself in Brienne a little bit. He knows that she's like definitely a better person than him, but if she can kind of like see goodness in him, then like, why can't he see that in himself? So I think he's kind of starting to accept it, especially now that, like T said, or Lady D, I can't remember which one you guys said, but when Tywin died, the whole thing, everybody like crumbled and fell to pieces. And so I think that if anyone like recognized that, it was obviously Jaime. Also, he feels accountable for that because he let Tyrion out and Tyrion killed Tywin, thus causing like the collapse of their family. So he's like, okay, well, the only way that like our family is going to survive this is if I fix it. So he has to put on, you know, the daddy pants, literally. He starts like thinking about his kids and stuff. So he puts on the daddy pants and kind of starts to try and like clean up the mess. And he does a pretty good job of it. Like when he's in the Riverlands and stuff, like I think that's like his best, you know, his chapter in Dance is like good. Like he has done some good work. He's changed as a person. He's evolved. And he, you know, he's kind of put Cersei, like he already burned her letter and he's just like, well, you know, good luck to you, but I got other things that I got to handle. I can't fix your problems that you fucking fucked your way into, you know? So, yeah, I think he's on a redemption arc, but I don't know how long he's gonna live is kind of my biggest question. Like I don't think he's gonna die like he did in the show. I think that was like just weak and cheap and like not how it's gonna happen. So yeah, I don't know. I think that also his stuff leading up to like Lady Stoneheart, that's going to be like another opportunity for him to prove his honor and prove that he's changed and that kind of thing, which I mean, that's going to be so crazy to see how that all goes down with Brienne and Lady Stoneheart and that whole thing. So I'm excited for that. Yeah. I think I rambled sufficiently.
You're good. AK, do you think that he is on his way to a redemption arc?
Nope, not at all. He's still a selfish golden dumbass. He will always be that selfish little rich boy that cries, my father, and that's all he's gonna be. I don't see him doing anything good. He's not a good person.
It's not him being a good person is not necessarily the thing that's going to keep him from redeeming himself. The whole point is, yeah, he's done a lot of messed up things, but he does do some good things, and that some of those good acts are what's leading him to do more good acts.
He might be doing some good things, but I don't see him just overall. I don't see him having this great redemption because I think it's going to end up right back at square one with him still crying about not being in between his sister's thighs. And that's where he's going to run off to. So all those good works and good deeds are going to basically ultimately count for nothing.
What are your thoughts, Lady D?
I think that he's been bumbling his arc the entire time that he's been in the Riverlands. Like, he left Tom of Seven with Edmure for like hours. He has Brotherhood Without Banners operatives in his camp. He has Brotherhood Without Banners operatives following him. He has Brotherhood Without Banners operatives passing information. We can prove all this in the text. He lost the Blackfish, and he leaked that Arya was a fake in the North to a Brotherhood Without Banners operative. Like, his redemption arc is just more of the same of Jaime being stupid, and by luck of being a Lannister, his stupidity doesn't get him killed because he's useful. That's it. That is it. It is all privilege with Jaime. Like, he has been screwing up his entire time in the. Please go back, y'all, and look at those chapters with Jaime in the Riverlands. He has been screwing it. Yes, he scared Edmure. Ooh, too bad it doesn't matter because you left Tom of Seven there to sit there and pass information back and forth, and you let the freaking Blackfish, who is still repping the Stark flag above Riverrun, straight swim out of there with all of the men who left the garrison. Remember that? All of the men who are the Blackfish's men that you let leave, unarmed or not. You let them leave. You didn't trace them. And you have Brotherhood Without Banners operatives in your camp. You literally went and picked them up. Hoster Tully's son. What? Like, who? Not Hoster Tully's son. Hoster Blackwood. The Blackwood boys. Like, who do you think? His freaking name is Hoster Blackwood. Don't tell him anything about the Stark girls. He thinks they're both dead. Why would you? Like, it's just constant, just idiocy from him. So no, I think that his arc is just going to be more of the same of him being an idiot, and it'll either work out for him because he is a Lannister and he's useful, or that'll be what ends up keeping him alive. It's because they need him for things. But he's been screwing stuff up. He's still screwing stuff up, in my opinion.
T baby.
I'm having too much fun in the chat, so I'm so sorry. What's the question?
Do you think that Jaime is on a? Do you think that he is on a redemption arc?
Um, can I plead the fifth? It's like, no. Oh yeah, actually I do. If I don't take the TV show and I just think of only the books, then yeah, because I do think that towards after he got his hand cut off, it was like now he's got to rely more on his morals. And I think he's starting to see that his actions have consequences. So he's thinking more, as you can see later on in the book, where he tries to step up to do the right thing. So I'm not going to say that he's not on a redemption arc. He most definitely is trying to change in the books. Now, the TV show fucked it all the way up. I don't think it's going to happen like that. He could possibly go back to Cersei. I could see that happening, but not in the way like how it was in the TV show, where he like does something to Brienne and then ditches her just to go, because it kind of contradicts him doing this redemption arc. You know what I'm saying? But as far as book related, I definitely see that I'm not even going to take that away from him. I definitely think that he's trying to become a better man in the books. Like, he's not trying to just think of his family. He's not just trying to think of just himself, but he's thinking of people, and he's thinking of, basically the people of Westeros. He sees that, the actions that he's taken, they had consequences. So yeah, I mean, he was forced into this redemption arc. It wasn't like he was just like, oh, one day I want to be a good person. He was pushed into a corner where he couldn't rely on what made him feel complete, which was his hands. So I feel like once the hand got away, he had to depend on other things. Like, I think I don't know, was it Tyrion that said it? Or maybe I thought it. No, I couldn't have thought this. It had to be someone in the books, but he was basically making smarter choices. Like, he was thinking with his head. No, it was in the book. Like, he would refer to things and say, I wonder how Tyrion would go about this. In other situations, like we said earlier in the stream, Jaime just goes out and swings first and then thinks about it later. But now that you don't have your hand, you can't swing first. You really have to think it through. And I think in the book 4 is when he kept referring to, like, I wonder what Tyrion would do. I wonder how he would talk himself out of this situation. So yeah, I will say he's on a redemption arc. He was forced to do it, but to say that he's not on one, that would be lying. And I'm not going to say lying because, it's all our opinion, but me not trolling, just looking at it for what it is, taking, even if I don't like him, you can't say that he's not at least trying to become a better person. Because, like, towards the end, it looked like Brienne was the one setting him up because he was concerned about her. He said, she looks worn down. She looks like she's aged a lot. Like, you could see something, like her face, I think, was torn off. He was concerned for her and he trusted her. So it wasn't like, oh, he was turning against her, because he even still tried to get the Stark girls back home or tried to find something. He had to get talked into it a little bit, but he still did it. You know what I'm saying? So I can't take that away from him. Happy, Timo, I said something nice about your precious golden dumbass. But yeah, he definitely is on a redemption arc of trying to be better than what he was, even if he was forced. But there are signs that he's at least trying to become a better person and trying to correct the mistakes he's made in the past.
I am in the camp of people that think that he is on a redemption arc based on a lot of the things that he's doing. The actions that he's taking from his internal thoughts that he's having, and everything that T Baby said. I totally agree. I echo everything that T Baby said in that regard. So we're gonna get ready to wrap this up. I want to thank everybody for coming out and hanging out with us to talk Jaime Lannister. I hope everybody had a good time. I'm gonna let go around and let everybody say goodbye and let you know what you could be expecting from them. Braavosi, we'll start with you. You're muted.
You're muted.
You're muted.
Okay. I just wanted to say one last thing, because you guys are right. Jaime, like, he's trying to be on the redemption arc, but he keeps messing up and he keeps saying stupid stuff to the wrong people, like Tom O'Sevens and Hoster and that kind of, which Hoster is like, duh, obviously, like, anyways. But, and also he's the oldest, so he's not a stupid kid. But if he was smart, Jaime would just talk to Sir Ilyn like he's been doing when they freaking fight, and like he's been training him. Like he already knows he can trust him to train him and like not out his secrets of how like shitty of a fighter he is now. But also he can't talk, and I mean he might be able to write, but probably not. Like he's in a good spot with Jaime. So, anyways, Jaime should just keep his damn mouth shut. Stop talking to strangers in the Riverlands. Like, what are you doing? Like, okay. Anyways, but anyways, so it was great being on here with you guys. I had like a really good time. I'd love to come back on and talk about anyone else anytime. I have been focusing on my Fae Fire stuff, which is for Cursed, which is a new show that's coming up on Netflix. It's coming out on July 17th. So I've been really busy kind of focusing on all of that and getting some videos out and some chapter breakdowns and that kind of thing. So definitely check out my channel over there. It's all based on Arthurian lore. So if you guys are into King Arthur and that kind of stuff, it's a lot of fun. So definitely check it out. And I need to do some stuff for my Braavosi channel. I have an essay written for you guys. I just have been really busy with the Fae Fire stuff. So I love you all. I don't have enough time in my life with children and 2 channels and so many things. So, but I do have some stuff for Braavosi. Just when it will be, not quite so sure, but I'm working on it. But anyways, yeah, thanks for having me on, Manara, and it was great to talk with you ladies.
Thank you for accepting the invitation to come on. It was a lot of fun to have you on, and yes, definitely would like to have you back for future conversations. Lady D?
Look, I've been trolling, so thanks for coming by, everybody. I'm not just gonna sit here and I'm gonna eat chips. I'm gonna be honest. I was trolling. I've been saying things in the chat. I don't really get in the chat that much, but I've been saying things, guys. Go in there. Like I've hashtag I can troll too. Lady D can do it. I can be mean. So it was cool. Thanks for coming, guys. Jaime, I said it once, I say it again. Like, for me, I don't necessarily know there's a redemption arc. I think it's just his story. Like, from point A to point B. His whole life has been attached to Cersei, and now he's not attached to Cersei. This is the second part of his life, and he's doing something. I don't necessarily know that he's trying to redeem himself, because in his mind, he never felt like he was doing anything wrong. And so now it's like, yeah, it's more like a rebranding, Like, the people that put the squares up that was like hashtag Black Lives Matter, where they didn't do anything else and they're not going to do anything to change their companies. It's like lip service. So I think that Jaime is that, basically. It's like lip service. He's going to be forced, like, this whole time he's been in the Riverlands. He's like, oh yeah, I'm going to be the golden hand, the nice, and whatever else, right? But he hasn't really done those things. Like, when you really look at what he's like, he hasn't really done those things. And he's made things worse for the crown, technically, because of all the things and the information that he's been letting flow through with the Brotherhood with Banners, through his camp, through the camps that he's associated with and whatnot. He's literally been going around the Brotherhood without Banners strongholds like he doesn't know where he is. Like, just, I don't know. So I think that Jaime is just going to end up as a nicer version of his crap self. And I understand how that sounds or whatever, but that's what I think is going to happen to Jaime. He's going to try to be kinder because of whatever has convinced him, because I'm certainly not sure, but whatever his redemption quote arc is. But I think that no matter what he does, he'll always only half-ass do it, because it's not, in his heart of hearts, he doesn't feel like he was wrong, y'all. I really just don't think he does. And I think that whatever's going to happen with Catelyn and the Brotherhood with Banners, that's where we're going to see the whole true knight thing with Jaime come in. Whatever it is, and it'll be at something where it's like, at the very last, whatever, like, we'll see something and be like, oh no, that was actually night worthy. That's what I see of Jaime. Other than that, this boy has mommy issues, and he wanted his father's attention, and he got it by screwing his sister and getting mommy type love, and by being the Kingslayer and getting approval from his father. So that's how I feel about Jaime.
You want to let the people know. You want to let the people know what they can expect from you.
From me. Listen, I owe you guys Stannis. I owe you guys the rest of the Grand Northern Ambitions. What I think is that you guys should probably just get on me with it and be like, do it. I've said I was just going to read it with the girls one day, so maybe I will do that, but I don't know. Like, I'm trying to do so many things at once, guys. I really am, but I owe you, and it's all written, so I literally just have to read it to you. Just like this whole thing with Jaime and the Brotherhood with Banners and him, like, leaking information. I have a whole timeline tracing from that quote that I put in the chat to the Ghost of Winterfell chapter. And in my opinion, if you trace that, you can see how information flowed from the Brotherhood with Banners to the north and what happened there and why they know Arya is a fake. But that's something we got to get into later. So thanks for coming. And I don't know when I'm going to get something out. I don't know. Whenever the girls bully me enough to where I have no choice but to just get on here, probably.
Get your shit together. Okay? We going to start the bully session right now. Damn it. We have been waiting. It's been years. Damn it, literal years. You've only just now come back south of the wall from fucking north, you damn wildling. Get your shit together.
It's true. Oh my God.
She's keeping us waiting like George R. Martin.
Right. You're right. Your cues from Gur Martin right now. Stop it. You stop it right now.
I forgot that it's like when I look on when I go on Google Docs, let me see when's the last time I even edited this. Yeah, the last time I edited this was in January 2018. So
yeah, I'm gonna need you to go on and move that timeline along. Let's go on and do that. All you got to do is put up dates of when you want to record, or if you want to live, or whatever. You got to come up with the plan, though.
Okay.
You already got the hard stuff done.
Yeah, but it's like, okay, so what do y'all want me to do? You guys just want me to do a live and just read it?
Do whatever is comfortable for you. You don't like hosting, so I would assume you would just want to record it.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like when I record it, because of the type of like person I'll sit there and listen to myself. I'm like, I hate it, and then I have to add freaking pictures and
excuse. You know, it's somebody else we was just talking about that always likes to give excuses. You gonna put yourself in that same category?
Oh my gosh, you see this? Like, do you see? It be your own people. It be your own.
Don't ask for it and then at me when I give it to you.
It be your own.
Right now. You cut that out right now.
Yo, Timo in the chat going at me like it be your own folk. Like this is just okay. Listen.
Yes, you are gonna get to work. Okay, there's more of this. After 8:30, 9 o'clock, that's when you got some hours to put your work in.
Yeah, that's true. Well, listen, how about like if y'all are down, whenever everybody can agree that there's time, like we can hop on and we can do a live and I will just read it and then y'all can stop me and just be like, hey, I got a question. Y'all want to do it like that? Like, I don't know what else the hell to do because otherwise I'll have to actually do it.
I mean, we can, but you know, if you format it like that, we're gonna go off into like 30 different tangents and rabbit holes.
It probably would be best if we were to just like do like a pre-recorded and then do it as a premiere. And then if you do it as a premiere, then people can be in the live chat while it premieres, and then you can get questions put in the live chat, or after it airs, people can put whatever questions or comments they have underneath the video, and then you can come back and address whatever questions people have.
All right. Well, like show me that, and I guess we'll do that. Then I'll just read it on some radio type feel, real faceless. And then we can come back and look at what T is putting in the chat. Look at her. And then we can just like come back.
Wait, did you just say give a hey, look over there so you could skirt out the other side of the stage? Is that what just happened?
AK, just let the people know what they can expect from you.
I don't know that you can expect a whole lot from me. Yesterday it was, I believe, I had the Robert premiered the convo we had on his channel in Deep Geek. Y'all go check that out. This was like the only other thing I had coming up, this and Ginger Ale Chat, and now Ginger Ale Chat has been passed and this is over now. So I guess we'll see whatever Monero wants to do next. And that's probably the next time you'll see me on somebody's panel. I really don't have a whole lot planned for my channel coming up. Not and really, it's only if I can get Chrissy on board to narrate some stories for me, or if I can actually get the situation together for Halloween that I want to get together. That's probably the only big things that I'll be working on. Maybe some TV show reactions, depending on what comes out. The Rona has like ruined all of television for everyone, so I don't have that much to chat about. Well, not that much new to chat about. I suppose I could pull out like some Stargate and Stargate Atlanta stuff, but I don't know if anybody in the fandom is even into those shows like I was. Saturday, I think, Monero, we're going to be talking about season 4 of The Expanse. So that's coming up. I'll be there for that. That's like the only solid thing right now. And yeah, I'm gonna continue to always say, yeah, Jamie's still gonna be a golden dumbass, and he's a reject for that. Not sorry.
See, baby.
This was so much fun, y'all. We had a cool conversation about Jaime. We got to learn his good parts, but then we also got to troll him. So I was happy. And we had someone came in the chat, so it was even and it was fair, right? Right. Like I say in every stream, don't expect anything from me. I don't want y'all to. I'll probably be on someone else's stream, but I already know Beauty Queen looking at me. What about that manga? Let me read some more first. Anyway, I am excited for season 4 Expanse. I have not started, so I'm going to watch it Friday night. Like, that's all I'm going to watch because I got caught up watching Drag Queens, and y'all know my mind starts to wander when I get interested in things. But this was such a good time, wasn't it? Like,
oh, I'm sorry, I got to interrupt. Which drag queens are you watching?
I was watching 2 shows. I was watching RuPaul's Drag Race, and then there's this show called We're Here, where drag queens go into like, yeah. Oh, see, and then got caught up in it, and next thing you know, I'm just watching drag queens trying to get tips. So, but definitely, I'm going to watch The Expanse season 4. So please check that out with us streaming Saturday. Y'all know we always have a good time talking about The Expanse with the molecules and people touching. Y'all know I get triggered when people shouldn't touch shit and they touch shit. Y'all know that. So, and y'all know it's always fun when I get to just troll people. And the fact that people were trolling in the chat just made my heart warm. So this was fun time, y'all.
Once again, I want to thank all of these wonderful ladies for joining me and having this discussion. I want to thank everybody who came in the chats, and I hope y'all all had a good time having conversations in the chat, listening to us talk, trolling, because that's what it's all about, right? Coming together, having a good time, and trolling everybody's faves. The announcements that I have is next week we're gonna do Tyrion. So be ready to come back next Thursday at the same time. And we're going to do Tyrion, which is going to be our last Lannister. Tomorrow's movie night is going to have to be canceled because AK was let me know that the Space Force is not actually a movie. It's actually a series. And so it wasn't going to work for us to be able to do it as a movie night. So what I want to do is I want to I don't know how I want to do this, but on Saturday I'm gonna list 3 movies, and throughout by the end of the chat, the movie that gets the most votes is the movie that we're gonna do, and then we'll do that movie. I don't know. We'll pick a day to do that movie, and then we'll have the movie night then. So unfortunately, we can't do the movie night tomorrow because of the fact that Space Force is not actually a movie; it's actually a series. So we'll have to scratch that. Also, I want to give a shout out to Girls Gone Canon. They have they've done a whole chapter by chapter series on Jaime. If you guys want to check that out on their Podbean podcast, you can check them out. Also, there's also another podcast called Close the Door and Come Here. They're a Jaime and Brienne ship type podcast, and they also have a whole chapter by chapter on Jaime and Brienne, and they've also done some other they've also done other characters, but they are a Jaime and Brienne type podcast. That's who they ship. Let's see. Next month, I want to start the Harry Potter. So the first full week of July, I want to have a discussion on the first book of Harry Potter. So if you have the book and you're interested in reading it for that week, or you don't necessarily have to, but I want to have like a discussion on that and hopefully be able to watch like I should say book 1 and book 2, because there's 7 books and we're not going to be able to do one a week. So like the first 2 books of the Harry Potter series, and then we'll do like we'll watch like the movies and kind of do like a book to movie comparison type discussion. Expanse will be on Saturday at, I think I'm going to do it at 11 a.m. And the reason why I want to do it at 11 a.m. is because I think Joe Magician usually does his stream at 2 o'clock on Saturdays, and Radio Westeros does their stream at 5 p.m. on Saturday. And so as a way of not like, overlapping or conflicting, I'll go ahead and do the Expanse stream at 11 a.m. or 11:30. You'll see it when it comes up. It'll be either at 11 or 11:30 on Saturday morning, and we can do Expanse season 4. And then come August, we'll start diving into the novellas before we get into the main series of the books. And then we'll probably have some other, I have some other discussion topics that I want to get into, but I'll talk about that as we move along. So that's what you can expect to see, at least here with me, and hopefully these my girls will come and hopefully have Braavosi come back. Make sure to subscribe to her channel, Fayfire, and also to her channel, Braavosi Broadcast, so you can catch up on what she's doing. I didn't know she had another channel, or else I would have linked it below. I only linked her Braavosi Broadcast channel, but I believe she commented in the chat. So if you see Fayfire, that's you, right, Braavosi? So just click on it, and then you can subscribe from there to subscribe to her channel so that you can see what's going on. And then there are links in the description box. If you happen to catch this, after on a replay, if you have any comments or questions, please be free to leave them down in the comment section below. Again, I want to thank everybody for coming through, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Jaime stole the mask.